You are listening to Making It in the Toy Industry, episode number 262.
Welcome to Making It in the Toy Industry, a podcast for inventors, entrepreneurs, and makers like you. And now, your host, Azhelle Wade.
Hey there, toy people. Azhelle Wade here, and welcome back to another episode of Making It in the Toy Industry. This is a weekly podcast brought to you by thetoycoach.com. Today continues our New York Toy Fair 2025 exclusive interview series. We are back with interviews that actually happened on the show floor. But before we dive into our next interview, let's quickly recap what happened in our last interview. So last week we interviewed Mike Searles and we talked about tariffs. You guys loved this episode. So we covered why Chinese factories can't absorb the tariffs. They are operating on really razor thin margins, and the countries aren't paying the taxes. The people importing the products into their country, us, are. And what does that mean for production? What does that mean for your production cost? So with Mike, we talked about how the wholesale prices of products are likely to go up $1 or $2 based on these tariffs. We also talked about if companies should rush to market with products to avoid an increase in tariffs. The advice from Mike, our guest, was no, don't rush to market, because you really can't predict when the tariffs will be active and when they won't. You have to get your product on the water, on the boat, before those tariffs are active in order to avoid them. And that's just something that at this point, you can't gamble or rush to happen. Now, if you missed any episode in our New York Toy Fair 2025 exclusive series, head over to thetoycoach.com/podcast to check them out. Specifically, the one with Mike Searles is episode number 261. So you can head over to thetoycoach.com/261. Today, we have a unique twist on our episode. We are interviewing a couple in the toy industry, and this couple runs the game company Hootenanny Games. We are interviewing Whitney and Alex Kimerling separately, asking them to say the same questions to see if their answers match up. Alex and Whitney are co-founders of Hootenanny Games, a fast-growing board game company built from their shared passion for play. But what's it really like to run a business with your spouse? And how do you break into the game industry using the help of Inventors? Well, we're going to hear from both Whitney and Alex to get the full story, answer those questions and more. Well, let's dive in and see where their answers aligned. So today we have a unique twist as I'm interviewing the duo from Hootenanny Games. So we have Whitney and Alex Kimerling, who are joining us from Hootenanny Games, super popular in the inventor community. Inventors love you, by the way.
Oh, well, we love them.
They love you guys. Like, you're everyone's favorite company to work with.
Right.
You're like the hot company. So Alex and Whitney are both running the show today, so they can't be here at the same time. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask them both the same questions and see how they answer when the other one's not in the room.
All right. This could wreak some havoc here
It's going to
today.
wreak some havoc, and I would love it. Okay, no, it's going to be great. It's going to be a lot of fun. So Alex, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much.
So
Glad
happy to have you here. He's looking at my questions like, what is she about to ask me? Don't worry about it. It's going to be great. Your wife did great. So first question, what is the single best part of working with your spouse?
Oh, gosh.
Oh, that's a great question. So every day, Whitney and I obviously spend way too much time talking about this company. Hootenanny Games is our life, and our kids and our dog. Like, everybody's a part of this company. And we just talk about it all the time.
Alex and I have completely different strengths.
Okay.
He handles the spreadsheet side, the logistics, the nitty-gritty day-to-day operations component of it, and I love the creative side of it.
Yeah.
So I think the best part is that we're all in this together.
Yeah.
It's just a very positive experience.
And so I think because we've got these two different strengths that can kind of meld together, it's fun to have that like complementary aspect with your spouse on a day-to-day.
Okay, that's a diplomatic answer. Move on. How many kids do you have?
We have two boys, 8 and 7 years old.
Talk to me about like breakfast, talking about Hootenanny. Like, you're at breakfast, you're supposed to just be having pancakes, but somebody brings up, I don't know.
I mean, it could literally be anything. I mean, one day our oldest son saw this packaging design and was like, there need to be lights in the trees. And we were like,
where were you sitting? Like, where were you in life? Like, you guys are in, like, the living room, you're reading books. Like, what's happening? Paint a picture.
It's like after school, 4 o'clock. The kids are coming home and eating a snack and maybe sitting on the couch. And we showed them our draft mock-up of this game, and our oldest son said, yeah, it looks great, but you should put lights in the trees.
It was completely bare.
There weren't lights in the trees, but everything else was pretty similar. And we were like, yes. Let's send Let's send an email right now.
Oh my God.
And like the next day we had lights in the trees. And so that's like, they really are a part of every step of this. It's fun. They probably get tired of it from time to time.
I mean, he volunteered that information. We didn't force him, so.
I know. He should get a little cut.
He gets allowance probably. Like, that's the cut.
That's right.
That's it. Oh, I love that. That is so funny. I can't wait to share what Whitney said. What's the hardest part of working with your spouse? The hardest part of working with Whitney on Hootenanny?
Oh, definitely turning it off.
Turning off the talk about business.
Yeah.
I mean, truly, we talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
Which is both a good and a bad thing, right?
Like, we can't always talk. Like, we go out to dinner, just the two of us in a nice restaurant, and like, the hardest thing is to say, okay, let's go an hour without talking about a project that we're working on or some big marketing event or, you know.
It's nice to have that ability to be able to relate to each other on that level.
Yeah.
But then sometimes we're like, okay, we need to talk about something else.
It's always in the back of our minds.
Yeah.
Because we're so invested in this from every stage, and we're in this together. So it's really, it takes both of us turning it completely off for that to happen.
I totally get that. My husband also works in the industry.
Well, you know.
But we don't work together, but still, like, can we go to Target without it turning into a trend research trip?
Absolutely not.
Can we?
And my children know that too.
Oh. No, I'm literally like, we're gonna go to Target, and I'll be like going down an aisle, and he's like, I'm just gonna stop at the games. I'm like, no, we are not going to the game section today. Like, that's like an hour and a half. Like,
yes, that's very fair. That's a solid time estimate.
taking photos, looking at competitors.
To the point where the Target employees are kind of wondering if you're casing the place.
Yeah, they're like, what are they like, what are they doing?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's so true. I can only imagine working in the same business. Well, it's so hard when you have a partner in this industry. I was telling Whitney I do too. And like, okay, let's picture this. You guys go out to dinner tonight and you're like, let's recap our day. How was your interview? Like, literally the interview is about your business. Like, you can't, like, what else are you going to talk about? Like, I kind of want to know, like, what else is there? What do you talk about?
I don't remember.
You guys need hobbies. You got to take a dance class. Like, you got to do something separate. Because what else is there to talk about? I struggle with this. I do.
Yeah, I really don't know. I think this is like at least 90% of everything that we do. So it's just, that's who we are now.
I know.
It's fun though.
It's fun. You know what? My husband and I would make a great team, but he also thinks it would destroy our marriage. So we're not going to work together ever.
I feel like you either want to do it or you don't. There's no in between.
I do. He doesn't. Side question, do you think it would be so easy to talk to your spouse and work with your spouse about the same thing all the time if it weren't such a fun industry?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know. I think that, first of all, our mission as a company, and probably other companies feel the same way, is to make people have fun, right? Make people smile, spend time together. And so if that was not our mission, I think that everything else would be a little bit lower priority or a little bit lower significance in our lives. But that's such a fun mission that we just have to support it and keep thriving and working towards that.
Yeah, it's a fun industry. It's a fun mission. So it's so funny because you actually preemptively answered question 3. If your business had an official motto, what would it be?
Oh yeah, definitely that. Make people smile.
Okay, I think I would say if people have fun, we're doing our job right.
That's so sweet. That's why everyone likes him.
I mean, it's we bring people to the table, and if we can bring one more family around the table to play a game and have 30 minutes of fun together, I mean, I think that really holds a tremendous amount of value. We may never know it or see it, but that's kind of the goal, to get more people sitting around and spending time together.
Well, but that's what it's about, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we are in the business of bringing joy and bringing fun, and, you know, that's what we want.
So if you see an inventor pitch and like they're not even having fun playing their own game, are you like,
yeah, it does kind of kill it, doesn't
not
it?
really working? Don't do that. Okay. Did you know that when you started your business?
I don't think we were as specific about it until we had product. And once we had our first batch of games and we were sharing it with our friends and family, it just kind of clicked. Like,
You realized what you liked about it.
Yeah, this is it. Like, before that, it was like, okay, we're making things and we're going to try to get out there and make a name for ourselves and all that. But it really made it more of a passion once we saw our friends and family really have an awesome time.
Oh,
and so,
nice.
And it brought it home. And so from here on out, I think that's hands down our motto.
Oh, that's so nice. And is it actually unofficial? Because not to spoil anything, but you both pretty much said the same exact thing.
Well, we say it a lot.
Oh,
so
okay.
I don't think it's on our website, but maybe it should be. There you go.
Okay. So out of you and Alex, who is more likely to come up with a new game idea?
That's a good question.
Neither.
Probably Whitney. I'm not.
Really?
She's so much more creative than I am.
We're all inventor-based items. I would love for my brain to work that way. I have so much respect for inventors, because I would love to just be able to have an ounce of that creativity. But we are all inventor-based items, and then we just kind of take those beautiful brain children and run with them from there.
I handle all the like back office Excel spreadsheets, and when I bring them up to her, she's like, "Get that away from me. Just tell me a quick summary."
Do you try to show her your cool Excel spreadsheet? You're like, look at this formula I made.
Look at this graph. She's like, "I don't want to see it."
So what creative stuff do you like to do? Because you're like, I'm the creative one.
Well, I like to take the concept and then kind of visualize it, come up with like some fun, quirky themes, right?
Oh, you do the theming.
Well, we do the theme in conjunction with our graphics people, and so our graphics team is excellent. But this one, Disco Island Escape, is one of our newest
so
games.
Fun. It's best packaging,
and I love the
That's expensive.
shimmer.
That's a lot of foil.
Well,
and a lot of different parts. I've done this, but there's a lot.
It's very shimmery, and I like it that way. But it is. You know, it's lemurs who live on Disco Ball Mountain, and the mountain turns out to be a volcano, and so they have to boogie across lava to safety. You know,
come up with this stuff.
It's a totally random thing, right? And it's just, that's the thing that I love. I love taking the concept and then just making it into something really, really exciting.
And we also have this graphic design firm that we work with, Statement, in Nashville, and they came up with this lemur idea.
They had the lemur idea.
And so they like paired the game mechanic with the fact that
they helped with that. Wow.
So we're playing this game that April and Ed invented, and we loved it. And we said, hey, we need a theme. What can we do?
Yeah.
And they went down this path of lemurs who are so used to climbing in the trees that they forget how to walk.
Yeah.
So when they finally like get onto the ground, they wobble around and like look like they're disco dancing.
Oh.
And they're like, disco lemurs. Let's make a game.
Interesting. So when you sit in an inventor meeting and someone is pitching the game to you, are you focusing in more on the mechanics and then thinking about like how those could translate into different themes?
Yes.
The beauty of this is that we work with really fantastic inventors, so it doesn't have to be either one of us that comes up with a crazy game idea. It's, I mean, you know, April and Ed with Disco Out, Barry and Jason with Feeling Cute. I mean, we work with these fantastic people all around the world who pitch us these crazy, awesome, fun ideas.
In a lot of ways, I think that sometimes if an idea comes to us and it's too fully baked, you know, and for example, obviously now we have AI, which like is great in a lot of ways. But I think sometimes when things get so far down the road, even with like these beautiful AI generated packaging that a lot of people are doing now, it's hard to kind of peel out what it could be from how it's like fully presented in this nice, neat package. So sometimes I like the rougher concepts because then I can see like the true bones and potential of it.
When you first started the business, did you know you were going to solely focus on Inventor product?
Yeah, I think that was pretty clear. So in the past, before we started Hootenanny, I worked for a different game publisher, and it was all Inventor based as well. And so we kind of knew that that's the best way for us to expand our creative funnel and kind of bring the best of the best ideas.
Oh, wow.
So it's not just limited to things that we come up with. It's much beyond that.
You see, this is so different with, I mean, every company is different with how they deal with inventors, but it's so different from bigger companies that are trying to rush, like that are doing mass market. They're doing a ton of SKUs every year. So they're kind of like rushing. They want to see things fully baked because they're like, we don't have the time. If we're going to bring in your item, we don't have the time to be developing it. And I love, because you are not the first company like small to mid-size that says, I like when it is not all the way done so we can put our twist on it.
Right.
And you know that this game, exactly as is, has not been shopped around to all of the other companies because it wasn't even fully in existence before coming to you as that way. So,
and I will tell you too that like the ability to take it and put the spin on it is truly, I think, what is setting us apart, and like being able to work with inventors and turn these into not just, we know that these are an inventor's passion project, but they become our passion project too.
It.
So
I see what the inventors like. I was hanging out with her. We were just having a fun day. I didn't know who she was. I liked her for different reasons, but this is beautiful. I love this. So, next question. Who is better at handling the business side of things?
Yeah.
Alex.
Yeah, okay. You already said that.
One word answer.
Really?
I pay all the bills. It's, so that's definitely my focus in the business.
Does he go to all the sales meetings? Does he do all of that?
Well, sometimes we kind of tag team that.
Okay, but like you mean like the paperwork?
The paperwork side of it, yeah.
Absolutely.
Whitney is fantastic with the packaging and like bigger creative concepts.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, that's you. And if you had to describe your co-founder's biggest strength in one word, what would it be?
Dedication.
Practicality.
Oh, he crushes dreams. No,
he does tell me when I have to put the foil book
There's
down.
a lot of foil. That's 50 cents of foil, I think.
Whitney is so passionate about this stuff. I mean, the amount of effort that goes into getting every little detail right is just, I can't even explain it.
That's a lot of foil. Maybe 75.
But it makes you happy.
It does. No, it's beautiful. And it's on the side panel. I have tried to pass like that at a job and they were like, no, Azhelle, calm down. They're like, we want margin. No, but it's
if you want foil, come to Hootenanny.
It's high end. This is what makes me want to buy something and display it in my house, because it looks fun. It looks like a disco party. What detail? Like, give us a detail from feeling cute. Like, I'm just so curious about what details does she hyper focus on?
Well, so let's talk a little bigger picture than that. So this game, when it was first pitched to us, Whitney took a print and play that day, maybe the next day, and went to 9 different friends' houses and play tested this game with kids for varying ages and tried this game out at a level that, I mean, it was intense play testing with a lot of different children. Yeah. And every note that she took ended up getting kind of filtered through this game and like changed some of the gameplay ever so slightly maybe, but really fixated on what worked and what needed a slight adjustment and kind of developing the game from there. Wow. And so just those little nuances.
That commitment from a manufacturer is unprecedented, I think.
I think it really goes back to passion. Like if you can see something that you're working on come to life in a fun way, particularly with children, like it makes your life so much more meaningful, right? Yeah. And Whitney definitely showcases that.
Oh, I love that. Okay, last question I have for you that I'm also going to be asking, Alex. Personal opinion, why do you think more companies don't license more ideas?
I can only speak to Hootenanny.
Gosh, well, I think, based on our size, we don't have in-house creative, and the ability for us to have access to so many, like this wide swath of creative minds, is, I think, what is like the lifeblood of Hootenanny Games, right? And so I don't know, because I see this like genuine opportunity and like authenticity to it.
Yeah.
So I think part of it just comes from the resource and the availability to have it in-house.
Our goal is to bring in as many great ideas as we can that we can still focus on, right? Like we can only put so much marketing effort in a year, right?
Yeah.
And so when we launch a game, we're not going to launch 50 games in 1 year, because we can't spread that marketing love and like make sure that they're all successful.
Okay.
But at this stage, we're launching 3, 4, maybe 5 games a year. We're much more able to focus on those and get them the right placement and backing and really awareness campaigns is huge.
Can you tell me like how long it takes when you see an idea that's really good from an inventor to getting it done in, let's say, at a sales meeting?
So we generally can have from pitch to like shipping date completion, like in the U.S. shipping date completion.
Okay, so you first round inventory in the U.S.
Yes, first round inventory in the U.S. We've done it as fast as 9 months.
Wow. Okay, that's great.
So
wow. So yeah, like promotion, marketing budget. I'm sure, the businessman. Is a factor in how companies are deciding how often they're going to license and develop products. So it's very interesting. Awesome. What is the best time of the year to pitch to you? Last question.
We take pitches all year round.
All year round.
We do not just take seasonal pitches.
The best way to pitch to you?
If we can't be together in person, definitely over like a video call, whether that's Zoom or whatever, because I want to hear from you about your game. I don't want an email pitch, because those are easy to kind of push to the side. I want you to tell me why your game is great.
Love it. Is there any last bit of advice you would give for inventors that want to pitch to Hootenanny?
Oh, yeah. We love inventors pitching to Hootenanny, first of all. So always reach out, please. That's our where all the great ideas come from for this company. They're all inventor games. So secondly, I would say play test your game like you've never play tested anything before. Like not just pitching to us, but pitching to anybody. If you know the nuances of what works and what's successful and what makes people laugh, fixate on those and make those moments really fun and really big. And then bring it to a publisher when you feel super confident in its success and the amount of smiles you're going to get.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be a really big hit.
Fantastic. Alex, thank you so much for your time today. This was an awesome interview. Whitney, thank you so much for this interview. It was so fun, and I can't wait to see Alex's answers to all of these questions.
Can't wait to see them either.
Good. Don't talk about it, because I want you to comment on the video.
Okay.
You're not allowed to talk about work, okay?
All right. Fair enough. No work.
It was a pleasure. Thanks for coming by.
Good to be with you.
Nice to see you. Okay, it was a pleasure hanging out with you today, and I hope you enjoyed the podcast.
Thank you so much. It was fun talking with you.
Yeah, have a great rest of your show.
All right, you
Take
too.
care.
So before we dive into our conclusion of this episode, I've got to share a review that came in recently for the podcast. Just a few days ago, we got a review from Super Dave 0828 who says, "This woman knows her stuff. Listening to her podcast has taught me tips and tricks of the trade, but has also walked me through a lot of the things I didn't even know I should be doing as a person starting in this business. Ask the question, pitch the sale, present your product, get out there and do what you gotta do." Added bonus, I met her in person and she is an absolute delight to speak to. Listen up, people, don't miss out. Thank you so much, Dave, for that incredible rating and review. If you love this podcast and you haven't already left us a review, what are you waiting for? Your reviews keep me and amazing guests coming back to this show week after week. Every time a new review comes in, I read it, I show it to my friends, my husband puts a huge smile on my face. So please stop whatever you're doing if you can. Leave a rating and review wherever you're listening to this podcast. All right, we have heard from both Whitney and Alex in this interview, and I've got to say some of their answers did match pretty perfectly, but oh my gosh, I couldn't stop giggling when I would see their answers wouldn't match in the interview, or honestly, it was quite entertaining when they did match, but to hear it from the other side. But that is just the magic of building a business with your spouse, getting those two perspectives, from game design to marketing to navigating the world of toy and game invention. Alex and Whitney's journey is full of advice for people looking to break into the industry. Whether you're going to be a manufacturer and you're thinking about working with inventors to develop your products, or whether you're an inventor and you want to pitch to Hootenanny Games and you're wondering what a company like Hootenanny Games is looking for. Whitney and Alex, thank you so much for sharing your story, for joining me for this fun little game for the podcast. I can't wait to see where Hootenanny Games goes next. And I know, Whitney, you're going to be serving up all that creativity, where Alex, you're going to keep the business on track with the financials and the business side of things. Thank you both again for being such an incredible part of the toy invention community. If you want to connect with the Hootenanny Games team, we're going to throw their LinkedIn information and their website in the show notes of today's episode. So just head over to thetoycoach.com/262 to grab all of those links. As always, thank you so much for spending this time with me today. I know your time is valuable and that there are a ton of podcasts out there, so it truly means the world to me that you tune into this one. Until next week, I'll see you later, toy people.
Thanks for listening to the Making It in the Toy Industry podcast with Azhelle Wade. Head over to thetoycoach.com for more information, tips, and advice.